Alright, what's going on, guys? It is your boy TKD1 here, back in your Blazing Source, and over the weekend we got a huge leak involving Spider-Man 2 coming up for PS5, of course developed by Insomniac Games. Now, none of this is confirmed. These are all rumors. This was taken from a rumored Zoom call that was taking place with other people that were, I guess, going over different things about the game and different new aspects of the game. This was from a Zoom call, and it looks like, of course, none of this is confirmed and everything, but there was a lot of info here. I am splitting up this content into two different videos. One is going to be the mechanics and gameplay that we're talking about right now, and the other video that is coming out later on this week will be talking about the story and different spoiler stuff that is in the story as well. There is one aspect that is technically a spoiler that I have to discuss involving gameplay that is involving a particular suit. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. That will be warned for you all. If you do not want that spoiler for you, I have a warning before I get to that section in this video, but this one is going to be talking about, you know, dynamics, about the weather and side missions and main missions, as well as, you know, DLC and different things like that. So this is going to be talking about the gameplay specifically. The one later on in the week will be talking about story. So without further ado, here are some details about the mechanics and gameplay of Spider-Man 2 for PlayStation 5. So first up here, of course, in the first look that we got earlier on in the month, we did get a look at how the new Spider-Man game for PS5 is going to presumably have a more snow setting and be set during the winter time. And we get a little bit more of context to that here in these leaks as well. So this is talking about the winter physics and how snow will react to Peter Parker or Spider-Man or Miles as well. So going off of here, it sounds like he is relaying information that he's seeing firsthand as he's writing it. So that's why it's set in the current tense. But here we go. Spider-Man on top of a building. Snow is accumulating on his suit. As you move, some falls off. Peter walking through New York as himself. Snow is also accumulating on his jacket. Footprints in the snow are present both by the player as well as citizens walking around. There are three different weather types that were shown, which is light rain, light snow, and heavy snow. However, they do say that there will be 7 dynamic weather types in the game upon full release. So it looks like there's gonna be a lot more than just the light rain, light snow, and heavy snow. And the leak also goes on to say that from what I have gathered, especially based on what my contact has said, the weather systems will come and go freely. Time passes without transitions along with the weather, and all will be representative within cutscenes. Story apparently takes place over a long period of time than the first, therefore there is more room for days to pass within gameplay. Speaker says that they try to avoid writing in, quote, this happened at night or this happens during the day as much as possible. They did say that they could not get around it entirely, however, so expect to see certain and unexpected time of day shifts within the game, which I guess to me that does make sense. And even with the Spider-Man PS4 game, they did have that cool like transition where they added where when you're moving into a night mode main mission from the day, it would have that really cool like transition of just seeing the one-shot city in it, you know, transitioning from day to night just to resemble that, hey, this is gonna happen at night, which is not a bad thing in my opinion. The leak also says that people are going to be playing in one instance for a long time and that this was a good segue into the meat of the game. So overall, hearing this is very, very cool. I love how there's going to be snow that's going to be on the suit as you just stand there and it falls off when you move and stuff like that, and when you start swinging. I'm hoping that there'll be some really cool stuff with maybe like the snow like hitting the body of someone that's swinging, whether it be Spider-Man or Miles, like one of them swinging. I'm sure that there's gonna be cool physics with the snow as well as you're swinging through the city. And however, I do like that little note about, you know, the footprints and everything, because hopefully we don't get another Last of Us Part 2 type of footprint gate that we have right now going on with Last of Us Part 2, but I'm sure that won't be the case. I'm sure it'll be great in both games and it should be excellent on PlayStation 5 Spider-Man. And next up here, we have another new aspect to this upcoming Spider-Man game. Again, these are all rumors, nothing's confirmed here, but we do have something here called dynamic missions. So they say here that the speaker of this Zoom call was pretty hyped about saying this and really, you know, showing the people what they had in store that they were making for this game. They say here that balloon missions is the first. Spider-Man grabs a balloon caught on a flagpole, a balloon flying away in the air, and a balloon that was caught in a helicopter. Yes, a helicopter. The landing gear specifically. These are definitely a callback to the Spider-Man 2 movie tie-in game. So I actually haven't played Spider-Man 2, that whole game on PS2. I did not play it, but I will have some footage of it up if I can find it. I was more into the Ultimate Spider-Man, I think is what it's called, the one by Treyarch. That's one I played a ton as a kid, so I don't have any memory of this, but if you guys have memories of it, looks like those will be in the game. That's a callback to the Spider-Man 2 game that y'all played as a kid. Next up here, construction workers hanging onto ledges and falling off of bridges, people needing to be brought to the hospital, as well as rescuing people from burning buildings are some examples shown as well. So this is really cool because I do remember there like being instances in the Ultimate Spider-Man game that I did play as a kid where you had to take people to the hospital and different stuff like that. So I do remember that aspect. That's really cool that we'll be getting that as well, hopefully in the new game. Lastly here, the speaker, of the Zoom call said that, quote, small missions like these help illustrate the friendly neighborhood aspect of Spider-Man, and players will react positively to it based on feedback. And they say that there are a few more, but wanted to move on to side missions from that point. So I guess there's some more different stuff. So it looks like these are going to be like a step under the small crimes that we would play in Spider-Man PS4, like when you were stopping a high-speed car chase or stopping a robbery and stuff like that. It looks like they'll be kind of on tone with that in terms of how quick you can complete them and all that good stuff. And it really does bolster that, that Spider-Man, in its heart, at its core, is still a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. So pretty cool to see that they're adding a little more variety in that standpoint. And from that standpoint, let's move on to the side missions as well in this game. So it looks like the side missions are going to be pretty beefy and offer a lot of cool different character interactions as well from the Marvel universe. So starting off here, a fight with Mysterio was shown, albeit very briefly, on the Statue of Liberty. Not sure if this was another reference to Spider-Man 2, but the fight looked very different from that game. A few still images of a theater and a clock tower were also shown, with Mysterio at the center of each. This also confirms that the Statue of Liberty will be a traversable location, and we will probably see more than one appearance of Mysterio throughout the game. Side missions are going to appear throughout the story and in greater number than the first game. Some side missions contain major villains and others help flesh out the world. A side mission in Hell's Kitchen with a certain lawyer was teased. Daredevil will most likely make an appearance, if not at least mentioned. And one more side mission with a certain, quote, fantastic and fiery personality was also teased and will be used for new racing mechanics. So, oh my gosh, so starting with that last point, we are going to get racing missions and racing minigames with the Human Torch from the Fantastic Four. Let's go. Let's get it. I hope that's true because that sounds awesome. And of course, let's not forget our favorite hero of Hell's Kitchen, Daredevil. Hopefully that'll make an appearance. And it's really cool that we saw some little seeds and stuff like that in the collectibles of Spider-Man PS4 of these characters, but it's really cool to see that now they'll be added into side missions and do what the collectibles did in Spider-Man PS4, which is flush out the world, and it looks like they'll be able to do that with these side missions. I think it's a great move overall and a great evolution from the first game, as well as, of course, let's not forget Mysterio, him being at the clock tower location, it looks like, and also the theater. I guess he'll have something to do with that, as well as there being a fight as well with Mysterio on the Statue of Liberty. I love this, especially coming off of Far From Home, seeing that Mysterio, and hopefully it'll be as good as that, if not better. Of course, the classic character from the comics has plenty of really good moments as well with Spider-Man, so really cool to see that we will get more of that inside missions as opposed to just having collectibles, which is cool, but it's cool that we'll be able to, do more side missions involving these characters and fleshing out the world and the lore of Spider-Man. Now, still trying to keep it spoiler free. I know I did say that I am making another video after this one talking about the story stuff that they said in this whole leak. However, there is something that is really big in this game that involves mechanics and gameplay that I figured I put in here, but just fair warning, if you guys don't want any spoilers, I will put a timestamp when you can skip ahead in this video to just skip this whole part. But I am talking about a specific black suit. Again, spoilers ahead if you don't want to know anything about it. I'm not telling you how you will get this black suit, but there are different components of gameplay that are very important involving the black suit in this game. So without further ado, let's keep it going. So the leak says there was a few still images of the classic black suit that are shown, and everyone on Zoom clapped for it. Suffice to say, they wanted the black suit just as much as fans did, so they're doing something right here. The speaker then says that they wanted to add an extra step towards, quote, tailoring every player's experience, and they move on to showing the audience this specific scene. Spider-Man is on a roof, the weather and sky are clear so that the light is reflecting off of the suit more. His classic suit is being worn. Contacts that were there say that this was his favorite part of the show reel, and the leaker had to admit that it was his as well. The black suit is then switched on with a simple button press and then switched off again. The speaker had this to say about the whole thing. quote, taking major inspiration from Web of Shadows, we knew that the symbiote system in this game needed to be as fluid and fun as possible. But that's not all we have to show you, he said. The suit selection screen is then opened once more, and most of the suits are grayed out. However, the advanced suit and the web suit, which is the Raimi suit, are available to see. The advanced suit is selected, then the black suit is switched on. Every suit has their own symbiote version. Oh my god, guys. The web suit is then selected, and my contact said that it took him back to 2007 when the Spider-Man 3 was released. It looked beautiful. So officially getting confirmed, I mean, you know, rumor confirmed, I guess, quote unquote, rumor confirmed, that you will be able to have the same exact suit in the symbiote version for every suit in the game. It is insanely great. But just because the suit changes color doesn't mean that the combat stays the same. Going on here, the contact has said that they tried to not copy Web of Shadows in its entirety, but they did take inspiration from the combat system switching in that game. Arkham Knight styled combat similar to Spider-Man PS4 was shown. Precision, combos, and key presses and dodging are once again the focus when fighting without the symbiote suit. However, when using the symbiote suit, certain elements are removed for more fluid combat. Combat is described as being more powerful with faster attacks and much less dodging. Players zip from enemy to enemy and can attack multiple enemies at once by using certain symbiote abilities. The symbiote suit has its own separate skill tree as well that is unlocked after obtaining it. However, the skill trees are only slightly larger than in the previous game, so it's nothing to write home about, but he did rest assure us that there shouldn't be any problems with players because there are now 2 different skill trees to explore and upgrade. Not much was shown in terms of the symbiote combat footage though, as it is most likely still under development. Combat reworks and additions can take forever, especially with a new system being made. Ooh, man, that sounds so cool, guys. Oh, I'm hyped about this, man. Like, being able to switch on the fly from the regular suit to the symbiote counterpart version of that same suit sounds insanely good, man. And I wonder how different, you know, the gameplay is going to be from the regular suit versus the, you know, symbiote version of that same suit. It looks like it's going to be more like tactical and very much similar to how we played in the first Spider-Man PS4 in terms of combat. It looks like it's going to retain that type of combat, which is great in my opinion. I love that combat as well, but it just sounds like another level when you try on the symbiote suit. It just sounds like you're powering like an ultimate in like Overwatch, or powering like an ultimate in any other game where you are just so much powerful for a brief amount of time. I'm assuming that the symbiote will be some sort of maybe cooldown or something like that from how it sounds, from being you know, very powerful in attacks and stuff like that. I'm sure there has to be some sort of downside or some sort of cooldown to using the symbiote suit. That's what I'm assuming. Maybe, I don't know, because I just feel like why wouldn't you know, just do the symbiote suit the entire time? So I can't wait to see what that catch is, but overall, all this is sounding really, really cool. Now, in spite of what we have already talked about, including the winter physics, the side and dynamic missions, as well as the black suit implementation in this game, we do have one more thing to bring up, and that is the prospect of DLC and a potential release date of when we will see this game get released. So what he says here on this one is that there were shown 3 images for a wave of DLC, presumably just like how they were 3 DLCs last time in Spider-Man PS4. And guys, the 3 images they were shown were Morbius, Carnage, and Wraith. Ooh, let's go. But they also said that it seemed like the theme of the DLCs are killers and redemption, depending on who Carnage is. And there does seem to be a big kind of toss up in the studio between who they want Carnage to be, because the context says that they are leaning towards Peter Parker Carnage, and you would play as Miles in that DLC, but they are in the concept stage and I have not fully decided on that yet. And then they were originally planning on revealing it over the summer this year, but now due to the situation we are all facing, they are pushing it to late summer. August most likely, or potentially later, depending on how the situation develops. But the release still remains holiday 2021 according to these leaks. So to me, the date kind of makes sense when you take into account that they were doing first story drafts around January 2019, late January 2019 to be more specific, and they already have essentially the bulk of one half of the combat in terms of them having the regular version of a suit stay the Spider-Man PS4 gameplay and way of combat, as well as then having that new symbiote version. It seems like that date doesn't completely seem unrealistic, you know, and especially it being the first holiday of PS5 being on the market, of course, aside from launch day, which is still taking place in 2020. So having the next holiday season have a Spider-Man, one of their biggest games on PS4, having it already for PS5 in 2021 under the first year of PS5 could be really, really big, and I see how that could definitely work out in terms of timing as well. And so there are some things I want to bring up here that I looked into as well. So with Peter Parker Carnage, I think they could have that as well, as they talked about here. I think that'd be a great way to go about it. I think it'd be really cool to have a nice little DLC storyline, having you play as Miles and then going toe to toe with Peter Parker Carnage, which is, I guess, called Spider Carnage, and different lore and different, media and different stuff like that. I could see that storyline being a little bit too, quote unquote, like important and too, main story-esque to be in the DLC. But hey, maybe they pull it off, maybe it's cool, you know what I'm saying? But I do think what's interesting here is that under the Wraith character, as I was digging, Yuri Watanabe took up the Wraith mantle at one point. So I feel like if they're gonna do Wraith, it's gonna be tied to Yuri. I feel like that's what they'll do. I don't know, guys. Let me know your thoughts. Will they keep it the classic Wraith, or will they do a Yuri Watanabe Wraith in this game? And of course, guys, let me know your thoughts on everything we talked about here in this video. I know it was a lot of information, but let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. How do you feel about the winter physics? How do you feel about the side missions that are also dynamic as well in some instances? How do you feel about the black suit, the release date, the DLC, all that stuff? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And make sure also, while you are down there, to check out our description where you can find our Twitter, our Discord, as well as the Anchor link to turn on from content in podcast format. That, of course, being Safe Slot Podcast, Road to Part 2, and all the good stuff as well. Like if you enjoyed that, as well as stay subscribed to PlayStation Stores to keep up with the latest and greatest in Play Edition. Once again, if you guys want that video about the story spoilers and different stuff like that, that is coming up soon. I have that in the works right now. Thank you for watching, and as always, greatness awaits.